I want to show progress on the talking clay mouth, the hello there everybody long block that I'm doing. This is a concentric eyeball that I wanted to show. There's rotating eyeballs, which you already know are kind of like this. They're sort of spindle spoke around a center, and I've explained that in other tutorials. But in this block, I'm going to use that cylindrical spoke and wheel and box it up for a very particular reason, and then do a center out explosion of eyeballs. So it's the same general eyeball color, but it's a very different approach to how to create it. It's kind of crazy. It's supposed to be like a very crazy moment. One way you could approach this is, putting a center black pupil in the middle and working around it. In this case, I'm not. I'm just going to show you the sort of cone shape that gets repeated multiple times in order to create the concentric exploding eye. So you just kind of wrap it and cut it. What you're trying to create is a circle that basically it's a cone, and it's trying to be more toward the center than toward the sides. If you look at the bottom of it, I've sort of put saran wrap on top of a base cone because I want to have this open. And you can see I've already created a certain amount of this material. This one you can make it in pieces and then kind of collect the pieces together and make a longer exploding eyeball. Of course, when you cut them this direction, you're going to have a series of concentric lines that are in a circle going outward constantly from the center out. Here's a better way to sort of show how this wrapping effect works. I kind of do every other side and try to pinch it and sculpt it so the line is alternating and not always in the same spot. The seam that joins these two together, this is of course is cutting it more horizontal so it always spreads like a full cone. But you're trying to take basically it's like any origami idea. You're trying to take a piece of paper and wrap it into a circular shape, and that's going to require a creative little twisting of the paper and cutting the paper at a very odd angle. In this case it's clay. If I were to kind of show that shape, if you were to actually cut this out before, I'm doing it as I go, that's kind of what it is this kind of a wrapped parallelogram. On a larger scale, you'd kind of want to do it like that and wrap it around to make the cone. So hopefully that's clear. I want to take a moment to sort of show the progress on the talking clay mouth. This is the part where he says, I am trapped right now inside and this is the 3 talking mouths at once, the continuing center mouth and the two eyeballs that become additional mouths. Inside, right here, I'm going to have a couple of boxes. These boxes are where the eyeballs box up for a reason. I'll show you why I'm doing that. Here, I want to have a big eye and a small eyeball, which is because the nose of this is at a certain slant. So the mouth, the mouth is off this way. It's almost as if he's in a Picasso kind of way. He's turned to one side, and so his eyes are cheated. But then he turns to the center, and this is very concentric, and so both eyes will become similar size right here. These joints are not really effective. I will probably put them on a diagonal. This is a way to hide the transition between one effect and another when you're trying to glue two pieces of clay together that are basically not joined already. You try to hide it a little bit by throwing another angle, and it sort of slides over, so this animation will slide over from one bit to the next, and it won't look as much like a jarring jolt. So the eyes that are rotating spindles become boxes, rotating spindles, and then they're going to become these concentric exploding shapes. Again, white is going to have to be put all around these at some point. The whites, and I'm going to go ahead and put eye blinks on all of this next. Here, this is going to fit right there. Again, I want to try to find a way of this kind of dovetail. I'm going to do like a piece of cupped animation. So this effect glues right into this other effect, and it makes it a little bit more seamless than it otherwise would be. I'm going to continue stacking these concentric eyeball shapes. This shape is going to have to be the largest, so I may want to use something like this right here. This is reverse of what I would like, but hey, it'll probably work. So I want to put the blue side out. So I'll cut a little smaller piece here, and this is a way of bringing it as a concentric cone down in size, and then this will be added. I'm going to go ahead and create more shapes based on this all the way to here, and then I will cup this out again so the seam of the animation flows from one piece of animation into the next. So it'll go from spindle eyes to box eyes to exploding center eyes to two talking mouths, and then continue on to the rest part of the block. I want to explain why this is going to become boxed. It's kind of a complicated effect, but I'm going to show you sort of a pre-planned approach, a sort of a thought process approach as to how this is going to be kind of a shape that comes up from the side like this and comes up and in, and then eventually I'm going to have it come in from both sides and box in the head of the talking person with his hands holding these two box edges on both sides. So you can kind of understand that this is one half of that piece of animation. It's going to come in right along here, and it's going to line up right like that. The arms that you don't see are going to be next applied. I've finished those arms out, and I'll show you those in a moment. And those hands, I have to rebuild this to integrate with those hands, so this shape flows up from off screen from below camera, and as I slice it up, you get to this point where it is literally sort of a U-shape or I-bar form. You can kind of see it pretty clearly there. Now, these pieces of clay will come out. These are just there as supports to work with, so the sculpture doesn't fall apart on me. This is a very rough and just preliminary sculpture to sort of conceptualize the shape. So you have to imagine these are not there. The head will be there, in a sense replaced by that. And the flow of the block is in a sense that he's trapped inside a box. That's the whole point of it. And that's why these eyeballs become box shape right here as well. So this whole piece flows into the animation, held up by the two arms that are going to push it in. So that's the plan and why these are boxed, because he's saying it on the word trapped. And I wanted to allow that word to be significant and metaphorically rendered as a visual shape. These are the arms that actually go on either side of this head now. The eyes will go in, and then the arms will flow up on both sides. That's what this is. This is a flowing arm that's coming in. This is where the box itself is going to happen. This piece of animation has to fit right there